Hello, Reformers, and welcome back to a special feature of Prophecy of Pendor. Now, when we left off, I had stated that there's going to be a series of this coming in the near future, and there probably will be, but we just have to work out a few things first and find out where we're actually going to be focusing our attention, because I have a bit of a fascination with the other remaining factions that we've not otherwise played as. For example, we have played with the Empire units, we've played with their amazing crossbowmen, and we've played with the Fyrdsvain all the way back in my original Prophecy of Pendor series that I started, well, years and years ago, actually. And the only factions that we've not really experienced that much are the Deshar, obviously, that's where I started in the previous episode, in this special feature series, and Sarlian, of course, as well as Ravenstern. And I know Ravenstern, they have extremely good archers. Sarlian, they're not really known for having very good units in general, but they have very good knights, and apparently they have good halberdiers as well. I could be getting that a little bit wrong, because I have not used their units at all, actually. And then, obviously, the Deshar we know as having their entire troop tree revamped in the new version. Now, one of you did ask me whether I am playing on 3.8.4, which is the newest patch version, as well as a full version at the download page. I am playing on the latest version, so don't worry about that. Anyway, let's go into Singal here, and we're going to be letting the kidnapped girl go back to her family. And did I speak to the guild master about this? Yeah, there we go. So we're gaining a little bit of 30 dinars, really. I mean, it's absolutely terrible, but we did gain some relation, I guess, with the town. Take his cattle. Yeah, sure, I'll take the cattle. Everyone knows, if you've seen my original series, you will know that I am absolutely livid about these quests, these cattle herding quests, and that's actually a pretty funny story, actually. If I can actually recount it correctly, then it should be a rather hilarious laugh for all of you. And it all started with me going to one of the Swadian towns in Native in the original series, and I was looking for work because I literally had no money, or I had very little money, and I didn't really have a very big army or anything. This was when I had either just lost my entire army, or it was just because I felt like doing a Guildmaster quest and I needed, just some quick cash. And this was one of the first times I was actually speaking to the Guildmaster. Wow, that's some pretty extreme wages right there. Okay, yeah, probably should be a little bit careful with that. But anyway, yes. So I needed some cash, so I spoke to the Guildmaster, and he gave me this quest. And I think this was like the second or third time that I had ever spoken to him. And he was like, hey, so there's this really easy mission about taking... Oh, wait, this is the wrong place. We need to go to Naltar. Great. Fantastic. So, yeah, he said, this is this really easy mission. Just take some cattle from point A to point B. And I was like, oh, yes, that sounds amazing, because in my naivety, my naivete, if you want to be, whatever. Anyway, point is, I was just amazed that it was going to be that easy to take some cattle to point A to point B. And long story short, you had to push the cattle. They did not follow you, you had to push them. And I'm sure all of you have played Native at some point. And it's, suffice it to say, pushing cattle, no idea what the developers were thinking when they did that. Because you know how it is. I mean, like, you push one of these cattle herds and they can go any of the directions. Like, yes, it's going to be extremely difficult to do that. Obviously, herding cattle or herding sheep or basically any kind of animal is going to mean that you're going to drive them from the rear, You're going to drive them from the direction that you want them to go in, so, that would make sense in a realistic fashion. But in sort of usability terms, in a game, it took me, I think... it was actually kind of hilarious, because it took me, I think, about... I don't even know, about 30 minutes in real time to actually get anywhere close with the cattle, and then at the very end, I was attacked by sea raiders or something. and was it C-rated? I don't know. I was attacked by something, I think, if I can remember correctly, and I got taken prisoner, and then I failed the quest. Isn't that amusing? That is just absolutely hilarious. Anyway, there we go. We have done that. Let's speak to the guildmaster here and see if he can give us another quest. Ah, hello there. Oh yes, no, I'm not going to be causing war. Thank you very much. That would not be a good idea, shall we say. Okay, let's go into the tavern and see if there's anything there. Hello, ransom broker. There's Kasim and Adonia and all these amazing companions that I cannot afford. Who's this? Oh, that is actually the ransom broker as well. Have you heard any rumors of interest? Perhaps you should come back next week. Ah, really? Ah, okay, well, it's kind of a shame. Anyway, there are still the Qualis gems? Yes. Ah, there we go. I've remembered it correctly, yes. There are still the Qualis gems in the game, of course, and I'm going to be attempting to use them relatively well, obviously maybe to get a ruby rune weapon again, because that was absolutely amazing. But this time around, I think I might be focusing more on... That's the thing, I'd like to use crossbows instead of using bows this time, because obviously, usually I'm either using a bow or nothing at all, because I'm terrible with throwing weapons, as we all know, and also, you know, the obvious, you know, crossbow thing. I did actually use a crossbow at one point in one of my series. I think it was in one of the Clash of Kings series, and that was actually really cool, so... Yeah, I would have liked to have, you know, maybe redone that, so maybe we can get another series using a crossbow, but the one problem I'm having with that is that I have no idea whether a crossbow is viable in Prophecy of Pendor, because it seems like everything is geared towards bows, and that's kind of a shame. So, yeah, anyway, let's just sell what we have here, make sure that I'm not selling anything too good. Oh. This is actually better than what we have. Okay, well, now we look like a barbarian Mongolian raider of some sort. Okay, well, that's absolutely fine, I guess. But yeah, I'd like to actually find out whether crossbows are good in Prophecy of Pendor, because... Oh, there we go, I have my light crossbow now, because I do have 10 strength, so that's nice. And we have 21% on that book, so hopefully we're going to read that a little bit more. But yeah, if you know of... any kind of crossbow that is actually really good. Ah, I don't want to go and speak to this guy again, do I? Or do I? 100 dinars to deliver this to Janos. I have a bad feeling that we're not going to be able to do this, but anyway, let's go over here and see. Heavy crossbow. So, as you can see, bent siege crossbow. Now, that's insane, but the speed rating is really, really low. But as you can see, that's just 89 damage. 89 damage, and the bow in comparison, which is not actually a very good bow, but the bow in comparison is 26 piercing damage. And I can assume that the ruby rune weapons, or one of the rune weapons at least, in bow terms is probably going to be insane in comparison to the crossbow. That's the thing, I'm going to ask you guys, is there a crossbow rune weapon? I somehow doubt it. But you never know, so I'm asking. If you know, I mean, I'm going to take a look anyway at the wiki probably, but anyway, if you want to tell me, then let me know. But otherwise, let's go over to... Oh, Janos is actually really close by. Oh, that's great. I was actually wondering whether it was going to... Oh, hungry bandits? Sure. I don't really want to attack one person. The other guy is knocked unconscious and things, so I don't really want to attack one guy. That's kind of a waste of time, isn't it? So, anyway, let's just... go over here and deliver this ale to the tavern keeper. Ooh, there's a tournament there. Oh, Leslie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. You are free, right? Yeah, you are free. Oh, thank you so much. I was so worried about this because, thankfully, it seems like we now have a medic companion. Isn't that amazing? Even though we are already technically a medic, so it's kind of pointless, but it's kind of amazing to find that just when I've kind of... Oh, wait, no, she's a trader. She's a trader? I thought she was... Ah, no, she can be a medic companion if you so desire, but I'm going to level up her strength a little bit because we are definitely going to need her to be relatively good in battle. And I think what we're probably going to do with the full series of Pendor is we're going to be a little bit more rigid with our companion builds, shall we say. So each of them are going to go for a specific set of things. Most of them are going to be our bodyguards. I'm actually going to... Oh, look, stay back from the fighting. Can't risk you getting hurt. That's cool. This companion will now be placed at the last place in the party each time a battle starts. Isn't that amazing? Oh, that's really amazing. Look at that. So, well, obviously she's just joined us, but the point is that that is a really cool feature because you can just tell your medics to stand back now. But the point is what I was going to say is we're probably going to have a person that is dedicated to spotting and tracking. We're probably going to also have that person be dedicated to... Wait a minute, let's just have a look here. Intelligence... Tracking, where is spotting? That is also intelligence, and pathfinding is also intelligence. So we're probably going to have a person that is dedicated solely to those things, because as you can see, we have such amazing engineer, first aid, surgery, and wound treatment skill with our main character that we really... I mean, we have pathfinding as well, so maybe we just need tracking and spotting, to be honest. We don't really need someone to do pathfinding for us, do we? So, yeah, other than that, I'd also probably like to do a little bit of persuasion, but maybe I can get a companion to do that. I mean, might be better just to do it ourselves. But, yeah, I actually came to Janos for one other reason, and that's to take a look at their crossbows. They don't actually have very good stuff. I mean, as you can see, the fine light crossbow, which is basically the same as what we're using right now. There is a balanced crossbow, can't be used on horseback. So... if we're going to be using a crossbow, which is... I don't even know whether we're going to be doing that, really. But it kind of looks cool, but it is pretty slow, so maybe we'll just go for a regular bow or something like that, but maybe not. Okay, so shall we try a tournament? I don't have much money, and I'm not very good at fighting, so it's probably a bad idea. But I'm going to get another point of leadership as well there. Maybe we should just fight some snake cult units. Maybe, if we can. Shadow Wolves, that's a new knighthood order, I think. Don't think I've ever seen those. Well, not a knighthood order, but they're an order of some sort, at least. It probably is a knighthood order, right? Yeah, probably. Anyway, let's just walk around here and see if we can find some bandits. I'd very much like it. Oh yeah, also, before I cut away here, someone said to turn off auto exposure. Yeah, my auto exposure is off. I'm not entirely sure why you thought it wasn't, but it is off. I did not change it between this episode and the last one. So, anyway, yeah, we're now gonna search around for some bandits to fight. Well, luckily enough, we seem to have found some deserters. Now, these guys are only 10, but as we know, in mods that give you huge difficulty spikes, such as Pendor, such as Perisno, such as... you know, varying other things, Conquerors of Korchorn and things like that, they kind of... it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't actually matter whether they have numbers or not, because for the most part, unless you have the right kind of unit, or in this case, cavalry, yeah, you're going to have a really hard time, because these guys are, I think, Salian longbowmen. I'm actually unsure what kind of tier those units are, because obviously, as I say, I have not actually had the honor of using Salian units, but as you can see, we just have an overwhelming amount of Deshar cavalry, and I really don't think they'll be able to do much against us. Although, me saying that and then being like, oh yes, I'm going to hit him for 15 damage. Yes, 15. Well, I suppose Medic Mike was not really meant to be a fighter. He's not a very good fighter, is he? No, he's not very good. But that's the thing, he's not meant to be. He's meant to be a commander on the fields of battle, and he's meant to stay alive. He's meant to give us all pathfinding, all medic skills and things like that. And that's how I'm going to play him. In the full series, we're not going to be, we're not going to be running in, too much. Because, I kind of like to run in and have fun and things like that. But the main reason why I wanted to attack these guys is because of this. Yes, Heretic Worshippers and Heretic Magnus. Now, the main problem with doing this is that our wages are going to absolutely skyrocket up now, which is kind of a shame, but well, it's all in the cause of good unit variety, I guess. Not really. Anyway, yeah, there was actually a Bacchus Empire vassal very, very close by, and he wanted to intercept those guys, but I wasn't going to allow him to. No, thank you very much. So let's see what we can do. Let's just level up a couple of our people here. Probably going to get a Deshar Reaver. Wait, we have one of those, don't we? Yes, we already do have one of those, so that's fine. Let's get a couple more conscripts as well. And yeah, so, I think what I'm going to be also doing is I'm probably going to be holding some sort of poll for a potential vote on which faction we should be starting in. So, for example, which area we should start in. There's only going to be, I think, 3 choices, because I've already, as I say, I've already started in the others. So we're either going to be starting in the Deshar, Sarlian, or Ravenstone territories. And then that's also going to determine what units we are primarily going to be using, as well as which faction we become the vassal of. And then we're going to see what happens from there, because obviously that's the natural progression, in my opinion, with Pendor. I don't really want to be creating my faction out of nowhere, because if I decide to do that, it's going to be a little bit difficult to recover from that, in my opinion. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to... Should I move in to help the 3 seers? Shall we move in to help the 3? No, no. Okay, we're not going to do that because I'd like to try and rescue the prisoners from the 3 seers, because they're actually having a Lady Valkyrie in their party. Now, the main problem I foresee here is that the seer favorite is extremely good with her bow, as you can see here. So this is going to be a little bit worrying if I actually get shot. Don't get shot, please. Can you kill? Can you kill that? I actually don't even know whether they... Yeah, they can, actually. Oh, well, the Heretic Magnus can, of course, kill it. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so that's great. And there we have it. Okay, so now, do I get a chance to rescue the Lady Valkyrie? I hope so. I mean, the Heretics... If I had helped the Heretics, it would have just made them like us a little bit more, but they still would have hated us anyway. So... yeah, it doesn't seem like I could take the Lady Valkyrie, because obviously that's a knighthood order, but they do have some maiden cavalry anyway, as well as some mercenary armsmen and things like that. You know how I like my mercenary armsmen. One time I had 92 of these guys, because I rescued them from some snake cult or something, so that is fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm not able to take more of these desert hunters, so I suppose I will swap them out for a mercenary armsman there. And obviously not any loot to be gained. But yes, do stay tuned for a potential... Oh, hello there. Heretic Coven. Yeah, definitely don't want to be fighting those. And the Mist Mountain warriors are running away very, very fast. But yes, do stay tuned for a potential update video on Pendor, because that will be where the vote will be held and all that sort of thing. So yeah, that was why I mentioned in the previous episode about community involvement and things like that, because I'd like to get the audience a little bit more involved in the next Pendor series, because it's kind of nice to do that every now and again, because this is my... I think if I am going to start a series, which is likely, then it is my 3rd outing with Pendor, and usually I'll choose everything about it, and, you know, that's absolutely fine, because that's kind of entertaining in itself, I hope, at least. And we are also most likely going to be welcoming back our Tea and Biscuit Knighthood Order, as soon as we can, of course. But, yeah, we're going to see how that goes. So, yeah, I've just been wandering around here. There hasn't been really any bandits to fight, so I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to end this episode off here. It was really just to give you an update on what's happening and, you know, to find out what we're going to be doing. But yeah, we are going to keep the medic archetype as well. I really am enjoying the heavy intelligence build so far, and we're going to see how that goes. And the only thing left to be done is basically choose where a faction is, you know, which faction we're going to be where a faction is, yeah, which faction we're going to be choosing to start in, which faction units we're going to use, and so on and so forth. And then also deciding whether I'm going to be using a crossbow or a regular bow or whatever, because I need to stay away from combat, so I'm going to try and find the best range weapon to do that. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.